Hey y'all, good afternoon, good evening, good morning, wherever you are. Thank you for joining me, Dorothea, on Through an Orthodox Christian Lens. I want to talk about the Iran-Israel war, some news stories on that. We're going to start with this one. Israel asked U.S. to join Iran attack. As you know, Netanyahu, it's a video, I don't know if it's a video, but Netanyahu is begging Trump that he wants the U.S. to join, the U.S. military to join the Israeli military. West Jerusalem has requested assistance targeting the Fordo nuclear site. First off, shouldn't be targeting a nuclear site in the first place because it's very dangerous, leaking radiation and such. They asked the White House to take part in its military campaign against Iran in order to eliminate Iran's nuclear program. Well, some of the above-ground facilities in Iran, those nuke facility energy ones, they weren't really nukes, but they were used for energy, were hit. As we all know, many were damaged and destroyed. The underground one hasn't been. So, what is the guess that we will? What is your guess that eventually President Trump's going to give in and probably go ahead with? I don't know why he would do that, because he really doesn't want our U.S. soldiers to be killed. However, what I'm hearing is that he's leaning towards the neocons, the warmongers. So let me go on. Meanwhile, we have where is that? Iranian Navy intercepts British destroyer in Indian Ocean, assisting Israeli missile targeting. That's quite a shot. The Iranian Navy intercepted a British destroyer in the northern Indian Ocean, meant to help guide Israeli missiles toward Iranian territory. And according to the statement from the Public Relations Office of the 1st Naval Zone, the destroyer was detected by Iranian intelligence systems Friday night and warned by combat drones before it could advance toward the Persian Gulf. The vessel is said to have been forced to change course after being tracked in the Sea of Oman. So that's good to know. So this was on the 14th, this story. And of course, we all know that's going on. Let's see. This story is, as we know, the foreign minister, Abbas Araghchi, I can't pronounce it, says U.S. President Donald Trump has publicly and explicitly confirmed he knew about the attacks. Yes. Past few days we learned that. So, of course, he says we have well-documented and solid evidence of the support provided by American forces in the region and their basis for the military attacks of the Zionist regime. Therefore, the U.S., in our opinion, is a partner in these attacks and must accept its responsibility, for sure. And, let's see, what was I going to say? This is important. The Iranian oil and gas facilities that Israel hit, why they matter. Well, we obviously know why. So it says Late on Saturday, Iran's Ministry of Petroleum said Israel struck a key fuel depot, while another oil refinery in the capital city of Tehran was also in flames as emergency crews scrambled to douse the fires at separate sites. Iran has also partially suspended production at the world's biggest gas field, the South Pars, which it shares with neighbor Qatar, after an Israeli strike caused a fire there on Saturday. The latest round of exchange of projectiles began on Friday after Israel launched attacks on Iran's military and nuclear sites and assassinated several, as we know. All this we already know. And you see where it's located here. These facilities. Iran holds the world's second largest proven natural gas reserves and the third largest crude oil reserves, according to the United States government's Energy Information Administration. And its energy infrastructure has long been a potential target for Israel. Before the current spiral in their conflict, Israel had largely avoided targeting Iranian energy facilities amid pressures from its allies, including the U.S., over the risk to global oil and gas prices from any such attack. That has now changed. Yeah, like I said, I don't think that's a good idea to be hitting those. On Friday, Israel's Defense Minister Israel Katz warned that if Iran retaliated to its attacks, Tehran will burn, as we heard the other day. Okay, so I'm going to go on to why are these sites important. The Sharon oil depot is one of Tehran's largest fuel storage and distribution hubs. It has nearly 260 million liters of storage capacity across 11 tanks. It is a vital node in the capital's urban fuel grid, distributing petrol, diesel, and aviation fuel to service several terminals across northern Tehran. The Tehran refinery, located just south of Tehran in the Shari Ray district, operated by the state-owned Tehran Oil Refining Company, is one of the country's oldest refineries, with a refining capacity of nearly 225,000 barrels per day. Experts warn that any disruption to this site, whatever the cause of the fire, could strain fuel logistics in Iran's most populous and economically significant region. Down south, the offshore South Pars gas field in the Gulf contains an estimated 1,260 trillion cubic feet of recoverable gas, accounting for nearly 25% of known global reserves. Meanwhile, the hit on the Fajr Jam gas refinery in Bushehr province threatens to disrupt Iran's domestic electricity and fuel supplies, particularly for the southern and central provinces, which are already under huge stress. In Iran, blackouts cost the economy about $250 million a day, according to the government's estimates. Wow. Of course, there's the uncertain global markets. Now, adding to the uncertainty in global markets, Iran has noted that it is considering closing the Strait of Hormuz amid the intensifying conflict with Israel, a move that would send oil prices soaring. The Strait of Hormuz, which splits Iran on one side and Oman and the United Arab Emirates on the other, is the only marine entryway into the Gulf, with nearly 20% of global oil consumption flowing through it. The EIA describes it as the world's most important oil transit choke point. So, the Israeli attacks on Friday, which spared Iran's oil and gas facilities on the first day of the fighting, had already pushed oil prices up 9% before they calmed just a bit, and analysts expect prices to rise sharply when oil markets open again on Monday. Yeah, we'll see how it goes on Monday. Now, Alan Ayer, a distinguished diplomatic fellow at the Middle East Institute, told Al Jazeera that Israel was trying to push the U.S. into participating in its attacks on Iran. Yes. Ultimately, Israel's best case scenario is to encourage, if not regime change, then the toppling of this regime. Yeah, here we go again with the regime change. As we all know, Iran's options are very limited. They have to respond militarily to save face domestically, but it is very unlikely that Iran can cause enough damage to Israel internally or put enough pressure to stop bombing. Iran does not have many allies in the international community, and even if it did, Israel has shown that it is spectacularly unwilling to listen to international opinion. No kidding. But let's get back to this Strait of Hormuz and the importance of the oil getting out. This is key because China, as we know, China is a significant importer of Iranian oil, and the majority of its oil imports, including those from Iran, transit through the Strait of Hormuz. As of 2025, approximately 70% of the oil volume passing through the Strait of Hormuz goes to Asian countries, with China being one of the largest recipients. This makes the strait a critical route for China's energy supply. Given that the Strait of Hormuz is the only sea passage from the Persian Gulf to the open ocean, any disruption to this choke point would directly impact China's oil supply chain. This has led to concerns in Beijing over potential regional conflicts, particularly amid rising tensions between Iran and Israel, which could threaten the stability of oil shipments through the strait. China's reliance on oil transported via the Strait of Hormuz underscores a strategic interest in maintaining stability in the region. Any closure or significant disruption of the strait would not only affect China's energy imports, but also have broader implications for global oil prices and trade. Yes, exactly. So, as we know, China has a big interest and investment in Iran and that area with the Silk Road and BRICS and everything and the oil. So what do we think is going to happen with that? Well, according to One India News, Chinese plane secretly lands in Iran. This was 10 hours ago. They put this out 10 hours ago. China challenges U.S. officially begins World War III. Well, we don't know, but listen to this. Chinese plane with transponder off suggests a secretive operation likely involving military equipment or sanctions. Goods. Given China and Iran's strategic partnership and history of military cooperation, ongoing World War III-like situation. Chinese cargo Boeing 747 supposedly carrying heavy arsenals has entered Iranian airspace heading toward Tehran. Looks like China is taking direct part in this conflict. Trump has warned Iran of severe consequences, and in this context, China's move is being seen as a direct challenge to U.S. The report of a Chinese cargo plane landing in Tehran has raised questions about China's involvement in the ongoing war. Media reports claim that the Chinese plane had switched off its transponder to avoid radar detection. The third Chinese cargo heading toward Iran today, probably carrying drones and other ammunition. The fact that the Chinese cargo plane landed in Tehran with its transponder turned off suggests a covert operation. In the ongoing war between Israel and Iran, China and Russia have already shown full support for Tehran. Chinese Foreign Minister spokesperson Lin Yuan earlier stated Beijing is closely monitoring Israel's attacks on Iran. And opposes any actions that violate Iran's sovereignty, security, and territorial integrity in the Mideast. Of course, they have those interests. Yes, it's the same thing. China and Israel-Iran war. China jumps into Israel-Iran war. Chinese planes landed in Tehran. A direct challenge to America. Kind of figured that was going to happen, right? Right. As we know. China, Iran, Russia, Brazil, BRICS. We have BRICS. We have the oil issue and the Strait of Hormuz thing. China gets Asia is the biggest importer of Iranian oil, and China is the biggest out of the Asian countries to get their oil from Iran. Of course, this is happening. So, let me go back in here for a second. I think that was the last thing I needed to share with you regarding all of this, I believe. Oh, no, one more thing. Iran preparing to shut down Israel's war machine. Tehran has been preparing for a long war, a senior Iranian security official has said. Tehran is gearing up to decisively counter Israel's military operations and intends to shut down the regime's war machine, a senior Iranian security official told RT exclusively on Sunday. So they've been in these, this thing's been going on for 3 days. And so Iran has been preparing for a long war, the official told RT, emphasizing the country's resolve to confront Israel. According to the source, millions of Iranians rallied in the streets on Saturday, defying West Jerusalem's attacks and demanding retribution. This is an important support for Iran to continue its actions with force. So the official outlined Iran's extensive list of potential targets within occupied territories, which include covert residences of Israeli government leaders, energy facilities, factories supplying military aircraft, and critical command and control infrastructure. Now, of course, this all sounds like common sense. I mean, you would be aiming for these things. Iran's paramilitary Revolutionary Guard said that the country's missiles had targeted fuel production facilities for Israeli fighter jets, a claim not acknowledged by Israel. Well, of course, Israel's not going to acknowledge that. But that's what they're saying they're doing, which I could see why they need that, because I don't know how much... I don't even know if... I don't even think... I mean, maybe somebody knows. They can put it in the comments below this video, but does Iran even have an Air Force? I don't know. World leaders urgently called for de-escalation in order to prevent an all-out war. Russian President Vladimir Putin had condemned Israel's strikes on Iran and expressed concern over further escalation. Anyway, we know what he said there. So, let's see. Oman-mediated nuclear talks between Tehran and Washington were scheduled for Sunday. Of course, they were canceled following Israel's strikes. Trump did not rule out the possibility of continuing the negotiation. Well, as I said, you have no credibility now, Trump. You along with Israel, deceived Iran on this, and no, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So, that's what I have for you right now on this, on the Iran issue and the China issue. I wanted to put that out there so people may not have heard about this port. I thought it was important to share with you all. Thanks for watching. Please follow my channel on Rumble, subscribe to my channel on YouTube, like my videos if you like them, leave comments with any ideas you have, and maybe you know if Iran has an air force. And so thanks for your support, and hope you're having a great evening. Until next